Omar Hassan, just to get your comments on what's going on in South Sudan and the fact that a peace deal which was expected to have lasted at least much longer and hopefully get the country going seemed to be crumbling already.
I read yesterday, last evening, I read that the death toll had risen to about 270 something. Is it 300 now? I think what needs to be done right now is to ensure the exit of Dr. Machar and Salva Kiir. I think the two, Dr. Riek Machar, because I think the two have, first and foremost, my own assessment is South Sudan is yet to become a nation state. The footing in terms of, it's like when South Africa was born, it had the opportunity of having a grand figure like Nelson Mandela.
Right.
Unfortunately, South Sudan, its founding father died in a plane crash, and then we've had people who've inherited him. And since then, what you hear of South Sudan is corruption. What you hear of South Sudan is ethnicity. You hear of hunger. You hear of war. Even the humiliation of the Kenyan citizens. There is really there are no institutions that are being built that can build confidence, that they can deliver for the people. There are 4 Kenyans right now, arbitrarily jailed to sentenced to life imprisonment. If you look at the nature and the character of the case, the manner it was conducted. So that shows you the whole systemic failure of the South Sudan. So for me, I think right now, we need to look for a South Sudan outside the purview of Salva Kiir and Dr. Machar. I think and then dismantle this militia, disarmament of this militia, so that we will create a South Sudan national army that can then now be neutral and objective in terms of protecting the internal integrity and external integrity of South Sudan. So as far as I'm concerned, the nation started off on the wrong footing. We will go to Addis. We'll come to Kenya and sign as many peace deals. You'll have John Kerry come to coerce these 2 nations. You'll have sanctions against some of the leaders of South Sudan. But we now have to start thinking broadly. There's this issue of non-interference of the country's sovereignty.
Yes, because that's what I was going to bring in and say that...
That non-interference only stretches to where, you do not jeopardize, the very stability and the peace and security of the entire world. Because what is happening in South Sudan jeopardizes and ikes the consciousness of the entire world and jeopardizes the peace and security of the entire world. So I think it is important now to go heavy. That's why these international instruments are there. As much as sometimes I don't agree with them on everything, they are often not neutral. They are often influenced by big powers. But there's once or twice when you want to use them because that nation, the birth of South Sudan was aborted. And therefore we need to give birth to South Sudan. And I think we need, as a collective African Union, we need to take their next responsibility.
All right, Ambrose Weda, maybe to get your comments on that and possibly the way forward, given that it is a very young nation and there was a lot of hope in there being found peace between Riek Machar and his counterpart, but that seems not to be happening.
I think we must admit that the president, Salva Kiir, has basically failed. I think he had no idea about leadership. And he got it all wrong. And because he steered the ship in such a bad manner, the Riek Machar also emerged, and now we have the chaos that we have. It is the president. You see, a fish rots from the head. When the head is rotten, the fish is bad. The problem is with Salva Kiir. And if ICC is a court to go by, and it's a serious one. It is the likes of Riek Machar and Salva Kiir that should be heading there so that the people of Southern Sudan can have peace. And why these 2 people are not giving the others peace is their children and relatives are lavishing in our big good hotels here in Nairobi. As much as we may not directly interfere, but we should send back their families so that when the guns and the bullets fall, they can fall on them also, so that they know that all of us, including the others, need peace.
They need
it is
peace.
about individual feuding. I don't think that people of
So
South
do you
Sudan
think,
have a-
do you think that then South Sudan needs to find another leader other than Salva Kiir?
Actually, they need to find another Mandela. Some Mandela needs to come up. Those ones are rogues.